So Claude, what are the 2 or 3 primary potential solutions to Cassava Mosaic disease?
Yeah, Cassava Mosaic Disease is a viral disease which is transmitted, in the case of cassava, transmitted by the cuttings which we use for multiplying the plant, or by a little insect that you call whitefly. So the 2 or 3 measures that we can really consider is, one, to stop the transmission through cuttings. In a case that we are studying here, it's a matter of putting an end to the long-range transmission through cuttings. And the other one is we cannot really prevent insects to fly or to go to the next step, but we can use different plants in order to decrease or completely abolish this transmission. So we call this cassava resistant plant. Now, the problem that we have is that it's not easy to replace a particular variety by another variety. First of all, you need to multiply, you need to access, you need to multiply, you need to distribute, and there is a cost. You're talking here in this region about 1.5 to 2 million hectares of cassava. So you're talking about billions and billions of cuttings. So that's a big job. So practically, I think we're going to start first to see if we can clean up the material that is existing in place. At the same time, we're going to start the process of introducing so-called resistant varieties, and if they are satisfactory in terms of agronomy and processing by producers and by the processor, then by year 3, 4, 5, we would be in a position to change, to switch from susceptible to resistant varieties.
So what would be the primary challenges to actually implementing those solutions?
I think there are many challenges. The first challenge is, first of all, to get an agreement on what we call a plan of action for CMD. And this is what we are doing this week in this meeting, is getting a number of different experts coming from all over the world. Most of them have worked with cassava and the similar disease in Africa, and they have a lot of experience in epidemiology and in development, in control, in resistance. So we're going to establish first what we call a CMD control plan, a list of action, starting by what can be done right now, what can be done tomorrow, and in the long term. So this is what we accomplished this year. So the biggest challenge is not really to do this plan of action, because it's more of technicalities and science and knowledge. The real difficulty is implementation of this particular plan. We are dealing here with 4 countries in this region. This is the second most important cassava producing region in the world. They produce about 55 million tons of cassava per year, and therefore it's a huge challenge to get 4 big partners to work together on a single plan. Now, associated with this implementation will be access to resources, access to germplasm, multiplication of the germplasm. So there is a lot of difficulties. This is a question that, today I got many times. I think my own position and opinion is, number one, we have to do something. We simply cannot watch the development of a very important disease by doing nothing. The second point is, once we have this plan of action, we can test and probe some parts, some components of the plan. And if we are successful to some extent with some actions, then we can revisit the plan and we can reinforce or modify the plan as we are going. But certainly it's a big challenge.